This is my audience.
Let's go, bud. Woo, woo, woo. Come on, poop.
Are teen curfews fair? The one law that should change is the law of curfews for minors. The 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution states that any state shall not deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, or deny to any person with its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. However, many cities and states in the United States currently enforce curfew laws that deny young teens under the age of 18 their right to be in public places or to drive after certain hours. These laws are punishing minors for exercising their constitutional rights in the same way that adults do without such punishment. These minors are mostly causing no harm and do not deserve to be discriminated against by the government in the way that they are. Curfews should not exist for teenagers because it disagrees with the law. Teens are being falsely accused and it is unfair. Many believe that teens are responsible for a large percentage of crimes, particularly violent ones, and that having a curfew in effect will help lower the crime rates. This is not true. All minors should not be punished for something that only a few of the minors do. As a matter of fact, in some cases, applying curfew laws has actually increased juvenile crime rates. Teens begin to associate police officers with the curfew, and police officers begin to see any minor that is in violation of curfew as a criminal. This tension may lead to crimes being committed by those who may not normally be the ones who break the laws. What if the government decided that in order to reduce crime rates, no United States citizen will be allowed to be in public after 11 p.m.? Most people would probably say that the government would never get away with that of such a ridiculous scheme. In the case of curfew laws for minors, that is exactly what the government is doing. Denying United States citizens the right to live their lives freely, regardless of their age. Curfews unfairly confine all young teens based on the actions of a small percentage of their population. Not only are mandatory curfews unfair to law-abiding minors in attempting to reduce crime, but they have actually led to more rebelling by teens, and more of an acting out towards the law also. The stated goal of most curfew laws is to prevent juvenile crime and to protect youth from victimization. Those who support juvenile crimes indicate that neighborhoods affected with high rates of crime may use curfew as means to protect non-delinquent youth from crime and to deny delinquent youth the opportunity to engage in criminal behavior. By keeping youth under the age of 18 off the street, curfews are expected to reduce the incidence of crime among the teenagers most likely to offend, according to the FBI's 1994 Uniform Crime Report. Since juvenile perpetrators of crime often take as their victims other youth, it is hoped that rates of being victimized will drop as well. According to the National Council on Crime and Delinquency, curfew enforcement is often ineffective and unnecessary, funnels large numbers of non-delinquent youth into criminal justice that is already overwhelmed with alleged offenders. According to the literature review conducted by Ruffel and Reynolds, little or no recent practical evidence indicates that curfews initiates have an effect on juvenile crime, nor has research addressed the impact of curfews in their enforcement on the criminal justice system as a whole. A before and after comparison of youth gangs indicated that the presence of a curfew seemed to reduce or suppress crime levels effectively during curfew hours. However, the authors note that this diminished incidence of youth misbehavior while under curfew was accompanied by a big increase in criminal activity between the time of 2 o'clock p.m. and 4 o'clock p.m. It then appears that youth misconduct was merely displaced to time periods when the curfew ordinance was not in effect. Curfew laws vary with respect to the local affected time frame and sanctums. Most restrict minors to their homes or property between the hours of 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. with some jurisdictions allowing exemptions for youth who are going to or from school, religious, or civic-sponsored event, youth traveling from places of employment, or responding to emergencies often are excluded from curfew provisions as well. Several ordinances allow unrestricted mobility for youth who are married, accompanied by an adult, or traveling with a parent's permission. In addition, some curfew laws impose more stringent curfew perimeters in specific areas of the city, usually in targeted high crime or commercially important areas. Sanctions for curfew violations, which are status offenses for juveniles, also may vary among jurisdictions. Offenders can be fined from $50 to $100 or charged with a misdemeanor. Some ordinances include a parental accountability provision, under which parents can be held partially or fully responsible for their children's curfew violations. Sanctions against parents may include participation in laws of curfew are made unfairly. Laws should not be put against people in their freedom, no matter their age or their ethnicity. Curfew laws should be repraised and have more statistics to put into them. Before putting a guard down on minors, curfew should not exist for teenagers because it disagrees with the law and teens are being falsely accused and it's unfair. This is my audience.
Yeah, Pai.